All right, guys, let's rock and roll. We have hit the record button, so now we are live. Week 3 of our Art of Closing training series. For the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about some nuances of the process and taking a client through a wealth builder and what that process is like and last week we covered a lot of ground, and this week we'll pick up where we left off and all that good stuff. But teammates, by show of hands, whether you physically raise your hand or put the emoji up, raise your hand if you feel like you're learning something. Like over these last couple of weeks, you learning something. Like you learning, like you like, hey man, these trainings are really helping me. I understand better, our system, our process, the rhyme and reason behind it. It might be tripping some of y'all out, especially those who I've been working closely with, because I'm showing you guys the verbiage and the language in the transcripts and all that stuff. And y'all like, I have heard Nick say these things dang near verbatim several times, and I had no clue that this was a system that he was running. Yes, it is, because businesses are built and ran on systems, right? And you have people run the system. So all I'm doing, guys, is I'm executing the system, the very one that I'm looking to teach you right now. All right. And so let me share my screen, and then we can jump into this week's training. And so the art of closing, where skill meets success. This is week 3. We're talking about the wealth builder consultation process, tools and resources, mobile F&A, wealth builder companion sheet, dimes, spreadsheet, all that good stuff, man. Guys, we're just building on, from week to week. We're going deeper and deeper into it. So just a quick recap for those who may not have been here last week or the week before that. Family, we have a 2-step appointment process. We have a 2-step appointment process. I can't stress this enough. What happens on the first appointment? On the first appointment, we do a winning presentation. And that winning presentation is showing people who we are and what we do. The purpose of that winning presentation is to educate and empower people, right? We want to educate and empower the client. We want to build a connection with the client. We want to get a commitment from the client. What's the commitment we're looking to get on that first appointment? Tracy, we're looking to schedule a wealth builder consultation with them, to get them to agree to meet with us for a second appointment so we can do their wealth builder. And we want to get a commitment from them that they will give us referrals. So that's what happens on the first appointment. On the second appointment, guys, this is where the real magic happens, right? On the second appointment, that is the wealth builder closing business, getting referrals appointment, all in one, right? So when we do that wealth builder consultation, this is what we're doing. We're doing the wealth builder consultation. We want to build a stronger connection with the client. Why? Because we want them to do business with us. We're looking to close business. We're looking to close life insurance, investments, etc., and also get referrals. Now, let me tell you this, teammates, 95% of the appointments that you run will follow this 2-step appointment process, right? This is just a recap. And then another recap that I want to show you guys. These are some wealth builder consultation tools and resources that you'll need in order to be able to take a client through the wealth builder. You will need access to the Primerica app. You can get to that app from the agent website, which is primericaonline.com. There's a link to get to it. And through the Primerica app, it gives you a link to the mobile F&A, which stands for financial needs analysis. That's what F&A stands for. The quick quote system, so you can do quotes, turbo apps, so you can input the life insurance application, and the easy key turbo app, which allows you to do investment applications. All right. There's also a wealth builder companion sheet. This is a very important tool, because this is what you actually say to the client as you're taking them through the wealth builder. It is basically the transcript. You can access this through our virtual base shop on Primerica Online, which is like our team filing cabinet that has a lot of little scripts and resources in it. But Wealth Builder Companion Sheet is in Virtual Base Shop. And then there's a dimes worksheet, which is a spreadsheet. It'll need to be emailed to you when you get licensed. This is the tool you use to be able to do the dimes calculation to help a client determine how much life insurance coverage they need. You also We'll need a referral sheet. This is an editable PDF file that you can type referrals, names, and phone numbers, and all that good stuff into. That's on Virtual Base Shop. And then the referral warm-up text script. That too is in Virtual Base Shop. You have that. You send that to the client so they can warm up all the referrals. They can send a text message out to them to warm up the referrals that they gave you, right? So these are just some tools and resources that you'll need in order to do a successful Wealth Builder consultation, all right? Now, this is another recap. Keys to remember when you're taking a client through the Wealth Builder consultation. First things first, man, the Wealth Builder process should take maybe an hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes it can take longer depending on the client you're dealing with. I mean, sometimes people are not as technologically savvy as you would like them to be. Let me unshare it real quick, y'all. Let me ask y'all a question. Have y'all ever had anybody get stuck on DocuSign to where it's like you just literally want to come through the screen and be like, let me grab your device for it, like, but you can't do it because you on Zoom. But them jokers, they just stuck on DocuSign. I don't see it. Where do I click at? They're like, man, they can't find the email, all that type of stuff. And it's just, oh man, you just sitting there. And then they like, I signed it. And you like, no, it's not coming through yet. Well, hold on. I thought I signed it. Oh no, hold on, wait a minute. Let me go back in. Hey, that can take that can take an extra 10, 15 minutes messing with that. All right. And so not including that type of episode that can occur, guys. You know, the Wealth Builder consultation should take maybe an hour to an hour and a half. Only conduct a Wealth Builder from a laptop or a computer. No cell phones, guys. Don't try to take a client through a Wealth Builder on a cell phone. No, it's not the right tool to use to be able to do all the things you'll need to do. So you need to do it from a laptop or a computer. Make sure your POL login credentials are okay before the appointment. Make sure that is not going to be a hindrance to getting started. Have your Wealth Builder tools and resources already pulled up. Now, look, I'm guilty of this too, guys, where I'm scrambling like, okay, shoot, man, I forgot to pull this up. But it just makes the process more smooth and more efficient if you have it already pulled up. The Wealth Builder only focuses on retirement and life insurance. Just be mindful of that. If there's other things that you want to do for the client, then you can do those things. April, talk to us. You got a question?
I don't have a question. I just want to also add, because I feel like that was a personal dig towards me and Courtenay.
No,
But I would like to add, you know, if your client is going to be on their phone, to maybe remind them to have a charger available. You know, starting the call off at 32%, and we're going on an hour with video and talking and DocuSign, they could fall off. So that's just my 2 cents.
That is a great 2 cents. I was really talking about myself because I was scrambling yesterday trying to get myself together. And yeah, so that was not a personal hit towards anybody. But that's a good point you made, April. If a client is on a cell phone and they don't have a charger nearby, that phone might die. And it'll be at the wrong time. When you about to like, I just need the banking info. I lost them. So yeah, that's it. Omar, talk to us.
Hey, I think just in addition to what Asher just said, I think also you can set up the expectation from the client as far as, you know, try to be in front of a computer, make sure you have something to take notes with, you know, kind of hold them accountable to what you're going to do, so that way they can get the most out of the information you're going to share, if possible.
Yep, that's a great point. That's a great point. I know sometimes we text them the Zoom information, and it's real convenient for them to hit that link from their phone to jump on. But yeah, when we're setting up that Wealth Builder appointment, absolutely, you can put it out there saying, hey, this experience is probably best, you know, conducted on a computer or a laptop. Do you have a computer or laptop? Yep, I do. Okay. Well, then when you join the meeting, same link, but just join from your computer or laptop. And so that's a great point, Omar. Great point. What else? Remember, you're the expert. You are the expert, right? So it is your responsibility to lead this client through the wealth builder. If you know, people won't go where leaders won't lead. I'm going to repeat that. People, clients, teammates, they will not go where leaders won't lead. So if you're not leading the way, then they'll start trying to drive the bus. The client will. And that's the last thing you want, because they don't have the experience. They don't have the know-how. They don't understand what's best. Like, so you want to take that posture, not to where you're pushy, but man, you're leading the process, man. And then you're on the wealth builder, you're closing business, period. You're looking to close some business, right? That is your assignment. Because that's the way you're going to help that client, not just educating them and giving them financial independence number and all the dime calculation. Man, you want to help them implement these things, close the business, and then referrals. You want to make sure that you collect your referrals. All right. Whether you do it on the wealth builder appointment, or if you need to schedule an additional appointment to collect your referrals, you don't want to miss out on that, because that is the lion's share of your compensation. Everybody good? Give me a thumbs up if you're good. All right. Perfect. All right. So let's get into it. Where we left off, the wealth builder companion sheet. We just finished the securities piece, which is the living too long part of the wealth builder. And we talked about, I'm sorry, we just finished the retirement piece. Yeah, the retirement piece, the living too long piece, talking about the financial independence number, showing them their shortfall and all that type of stuff. And then what we segue into after that, and this is actually an image from the mobile FNA in the Primerica app. It says protecting your family. This is a piece of the wealth builder companion sheet. This is what you say. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Client, let's talk about dying too soon, which deals with life insurance. And then you ask this question right here. When you think about life insurance, what do you feel is the purpose of life insurance? And you wait for them to answer. You wait for them to answer the question. And you'll get a variety of answers. People will say, man, to take care of my debt, to pay my house off, to make sure that my funeral is covered, so my family is not suffering financially. You're going to get, you know, a variety of answers that's going to probably include a lot of the things that I just said, right? And then even then some. You got some folks that'll give you some real thorough, well thought out, perfect answers, right? And so this is the additional explanatory language that you add. You say, hey, your answer lets me know that if you were to pass away prematurely, this is just what I say. This isn't necessarily on the companion sheet, but I say, hey, your answer lets me know that if you were to pass away prematurely, you would want your family standard of living to go up or stay the same, but definitely not go down. Am I correct in saying that? See, y'all just missed it. Y'all just missed it. See, it's not just the words that I'm saying. See, the people who have been working with me, and I know you probably working with Auntie or some of the other field trainers, y'all know, man, you know, nonverbal communication is just as important as verbal communication. So I'm using my hands. I'm that person when I'm talking on Zoom, because I'm not there with you, but I still need you to feel me, right? So I'm using my hand. I say, hey, would you want your family standard of living? I'm going my hand up. April, I'm like, go up or stay the same. See, I go up or stay the same, but definitely not go down. I'm shaking my head, but definitely not go down. And they're looking at me as I do this, and they say, and I say, am I correct in saying that? Yes, Nick, you are correct. So I strongly encourage you guys. That's part of closing. You want your family standard of living to go up, stay the same, but definitely not go down. And they're gonna, am I correct in saying, they're gonna say, yes, you're correct, right? And so just something to add to your process. Add that to your process. It'll help. And then I say, and they'll say, well, you're right, okay. And then this is the question, guys. This is the question. I ask, hey, do you currently own any life insurance outside of your job? Now, here's the thing. I probably know the answer to this question already. Why? Because I asked the question at the end of the first appointment. At the end of the first appointment, when I'm telling them the things that they need to pull together for the wealth builder appointment, I'm asking questions like, do you have a retirement plan that you participate through your job? Jamel, I'm asking that question. You have a retirement plan, like a 401k? Yes, I do. Do you contribute to it? Blah, blah. Okay, good deal. All right, this is the information you need, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say, hey, do you own any personal life insurance outside of your job? And at that point, now this is at the end of the first appointment, and the client will tell me no, or they'll tell me yes. And if they tell me yes, I say, oh, okay, well, great. Have those policies. Are you able to put your hands on your policies? Do you have the details of your policy ready for the wealth builder consultation? Yes, Nick, I can have them available. So when we come to this wealth builder appointment, if they have a policy, Mom, I'm expecting them for them to have access to the details of their policy. Are y'all with me on that? So that's important. So let me reshare my screen. If they answer yes, even though I asked them on the first appointment, I might still say, hey, I think you told me the answer to this, but I'm still going to ask it. Do you currently own a policy outside of your job? Yep, Nick, I sure do. Okay, great. This is the detail. I'm trying to get the facts about the policy. Who's insured, right? What's the coverage amount? What type of policy do you have? Is it a whole life policy? Is it universal life, index universal life, term, accidental death? I'm trying to get what type of policy that it is. Guys, this is only dealing with coverage outside of a job. This is personal life insurance, right? The issue date, monthly premium. If the policy has cash value, you know, how much is in the cash value? Now, here's the deal. If the client owns a cash value policy, such as a whole life, universal life, and all of that, you need to explain the evils of cash value life insurance at this point. You need to explain the evils of cash value life insurance at this point. Now, let me say this. That's a whole nother training. That's a whole separate training. There's some videos that are out there that you can watch that I've put out there, that you can be able to watch them and you can see how I'm explaining recent trainings we've done. You can search the page and all the type of stuff. Y'all get what I'm saying? And you can watch them and say, okay, how is Nick explaining whole life policies in a way that he's explaining the evils of it? So you can watch some previous trainings and pick that up. I just want to throw that out there, right? But you want to explain the evils of cash value insurance, life insurance, in a way, listen to me, in a way that a client understands it. If you are explaining it in a way that is confusing the crap out of them, you might not get them to move and get up off of that cash value life insurance. Latrice, you got a question or a comment? Talk to us.
Really quickly, I know you're leaning into cash right now, but can you also talk a little bit about if you have a client with an existing Primerica policy? They may not be the owner. So I was speaking with someone whose mom purchased a policy for them. So I'm just curious how we might fold that in.
Oh, that's a good one, right? And so the mom, let me test my understanding. So this is a person that they have a Primerica policy that they're not the owner of. A parent purchased the policy and they have coverage on them, right? And this person might still be interested in getting a policy. So this is my take on this, guys, right? If a person is a whole adult, and I'm not trying to be funny, if a person is a whole adult and they have responsibilities and things like that, that person needs to own their own personal life insurance policy. Whether that policy that is on them, if it's a Primerica policy, if it's a Snake Farm policy, if it's a nationwide policy, American General National Life Group policy, whatever the case may be, doesn't matter. That person needs to own their own personal life insurance policy. Why? Because the person who owns that policy on them is probably the beneficiary. And if this person has kids and a spouse, or all these folks, they might want to name somebody different as the beneficiary. And 9 times out of 10, guys, this is some other things. They probably may not have a lot of coverage on them, not enough to meet their dime. And the person who owns the policy on them, this is the big one, they will never tell them if the policy lapses. They won't tell them. So you might have somebody walking around saying, oh, my mama got coverage on me. Don't ever let no grown person make it. When they talking about some, my mama got coverage on me, I actually got a sentence in there, Sean, about that later on in the training. 40-year-old with a Gerber policy, right, Omar? Like, yeah, my mama got a Gerber policy on me. This guy, he married and got 3 kids, talking about my mama got coverage on. Don't ever. Don't ever. That's just, now you do it in a nice professional way, but you grow them up and say, that's great. Your mom has a policy on you. That's fine. Brother, sister, you need your own policy. You need your own policy, because if mama lapses that policy, and it does happen, she's not going to tell you, I lapsed your policy last month, so you ain't got no coverage no more. No. So you got grown people that'll walk around thinking that they have coverage, and they may not have coverage. That policy may have lapsed 2 years ago. Are y'all with me on that? And so with the Primerica policy, you can always, if they have a policy, you can always get them an additional policy that they own and that they control. They can have 2 policies, one that was on them, that a parent got on them, and then they can have their own personal policy. They can do that. You can do that. Did that help answer the question, Latrice? Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. But let's talk about if a person answers no to the question. Because I'm going to tell you something, guys. There's a lot of people out there that do not own life insurance outside of the job. Now, what I'm about to show you is not on the Wealth Builder companion sheet, but this is something that I want you to add to your Wealth Builder process. If a person answers no to the question, do you currently own any life insurance outside of your job? If they answer no, you say this. Okay, that's fine. Listen, in my experience, what I found, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is when a responsible person like you doesn't own life insurance outside of their job, it's normally due to one of 3 reasons. Either you didn't see a need for it, you never got around to getting it, or you didn't think you could afford it. Which of these 3 reasons best describes your situation? That is what you ask the client if they answer no to the question about having life insurance outside of the job. But when a responsible person like you doesn't own any life insurance outside of the job, it's going to do to one of 3 reasons. Either you didn't see a need for it, you never got around to it, or you didn't think you can afford it, right? Which of these reasons best describes your situation? And guys, they'll tell you. They will tell you. Again, this is not in the Wealth Builder companion sheet, but you want to ask these questions. Now, let me say this. If they say, now, most of the times they'll say, I never got around to it, or I didn't think that I could afford it. That's what clients will say most of the time. They'll say, man, I've been meaning to get it, I just hadn't got around to it, or man, I had a policy one time because they were sold the wrong policy and it cost me $300 a month. Man, I couldn't afford that thing. So I just canceled it and I don't have it no more. I just didn't think I could afford it. So those are easy. But what if they say, I didn't see a need for it, Sean? Ugh. What if a client says that? I'm glad you asked. If a client answers, they didn't see a need for it, Auntie, it's usually because of one of these reasons. the client is relying on the coverage they have through their job. That might be the reason. Or the client is relying on the coverage owned by someone else. We just talked about it. We just talked about it. Or, this is the big one, the client does not believe enough in life insurance. Guys, these are the 3 reasons why people say they didn't see a need for it. They're relying on the coverage through their job. Oh, I got to do my job. I'm good. Or they're relying on the coverage owned by somebody else. Well, my mama got a policy on me, so I just figured that, hey, she got it, I'm straight. Or the client does not believe enough in life insurance. Now, let me be real. These first 2, you can knock them out pretty quick. You can easily knock them out because it's just really bridging a knowledge gap. And when you bridge a knowledge gap on why they should have coverage outside of their job or why they shouldn't rely on coverage owned by somebody else, you should bridge that value gap. And that's it should be an easy, objection to overcome or challenge to overcome, I should say. All right. But guys, let me say this. If a client expresses something that makes it seem as though that they don't really believe or believe enough in life insurance, that's that one where you just got to kind of be like, okay, Lord, okay, help me, Jesus. All right, here we go. That's the tough one. The client does not believe enough in life insurance. So if that comes out, the client expresses something like, well, man, I ain't worried about no life insurance. I just don't think that it's important. I don't need it. I don't need life insurance. Somebody says that out of their mouth. Guys, I'm going to give y'all something that it took me over 10 years in Primerica to learn. I'm giving it to you right now. Are y'all ready? Hold on, let me unshare my screen because y'all don't think y'all excited enough. It took me over a decade to learn what I'm about to give you right now. Time and time again, Jamel, I'm doing my Art Williams impression, RT. Time and time again. So many frustrating conversations I have had and trying to tell somebody and show them the error and the folly of their ways, right? Till I'm blue in the face, trying to tell them and talk to them, wasted a bunch of time until I learned this. And I'm about to give it to y'all right now. Y'all, this is it. I'm going to teach y'all the magic question. And some of y'all know where I'm going with this. See, the magic question, teammates, is the follow-up question you immediately ask a client if they give you an ill-advised answer to a question. Somebody give you an ill-advised answer, where you be like, huh? Like, where they say no when you know they should say yes, but they say yes when they should have said no. Or they just say something that to a question, you just be like, wait a minute, hold on a second. What did you just say? Like, ill-advised answer. This is the magic question that you immediately ask them. This is the follow-up question when they say that ill-advised answer. Are y'all ready for it? This is it. Obviously, you have a reason for saying that. So why do you say that? That's it, guys. Obviously, you have a reason for saying that. Why do you say that? Nick, I don't believe in life insurance. I think that stuff is all a ripoff and this, that, and the other. Okay, all right. Well, obviously, you got a reason for saying that. So why do you say that? That's the question. Because let me tell you, teammates, somebody gives you an ill-advised answer and you start trying to overcome it. Well, wait a minute, hold on a second. You ain't blah. See, Jamel, you don't even know what you're fighting. You don't even know what you're coming up against. Ask that question. Obviously, you got a reason for saying that. Why do you say that? And sit back and listen. listen to them and see whether or not their ignorance is deep rooted enough to where you can't win. Or if it's something where you like, oh, you know what? I'll try to help you out with that. Let me, now that I understand better why you said that, I can kind of help you out and maybe overcome that with you. You know what I'm saying? Help you overcome that. Does this make sense, guys? Please help let me know if this makes sense. Give me a thumbs up. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I wasted a lot of time. When people gave me ill-advised answers, I was immediately jumping on it, trying to like, oh, but wait a minute, hold on a second. Blah, blah, blah. I'm wasting a lot of time without even knowing what the real issue is. That one simple question will save you a lot of frustration. Omar, talk to us.
I mean, that's a great question. I think also, because you probably been through this, that even though you ask that question, they still kind of give you an ill answer, right? And I think another question that you can follow up behind that one is like, if it was free, would you get the insurance? Right? Because if it's free, then they don't. It's not that they don't believe in life insurance; it's that they just don't believe in paying for it.
Paying for it. That's good. That's so good. That is so good. Did y'all get that? If it was, well, let me ask this: if it was free, would you get it? Oh yeah, I get it if it was free. Is that okay? All right. Well, so it's not that you don't believe in life insurance; it's just that you don't believe in paying for it. So it's a money challenge that we're talking about. See, it's the power of asking questions. Power of asking questions. See, if you out there just telling, you're selling. But if you asking, then you're helping, you're assisting. And that's what we're here to do. You're serving if you're asking questions. And you always want to be in a position to where you are serving, you're helping, and not selling in that posture. All right. But let me say this, guys. Y'all want to know the truth? I've walked away at this point. Walked away. I folded up my tent, said, hey, if you believe in life insurance, it is what it is. The challenge you're having, now that I understand it, and it's so deep rooted, a 5-minute conversation with me is not going to change it. And I move on. That's not the client for me. That's not the client for me. You're going to run into people, April, they're not the client for you. Sean, have you run into people that they're not the client for you? They are not the client for you. Shadrika, you're going to run into people, they're not the client for you. Jamel, JJ, they're not the client for you. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay. It's okay. Count it all joy and keep it moving. Count it all joy and keep it moving. You are looking for a coalition of willing people that want what you have to offer. Not somebody that you got to debate philosophies with and all this, and they got, well, I was watching this podcast of Lil Ray and Pistol Starter that they was talking about life insurance shouldn't be used for this, that, and the other, and it's a ripoff. I can just save my money in crypto and blah. Guys, don't get into no, don't do it. Don't do it. That's deep rooted. Let them make it. Move on. That's not the client for you. But I want you to practice that question. Obviously, you have a reason for saying that. Why do you say that? Obviously, you have a reason for saying that. Why do you say it? Saying it in different ways? You know, be in the mirror in the morning, you know, doing your routine. Like, hey, obviously, you have a reason for saying that. Why do you say it? Because you're going to need it. You're going to need that question when somebody gives you the ill-advised answer. All right? So hopefully that is stamped in your brain. Stamped in your brain. All right. That is the magic question. The magic question. All right. So moving right along. So let's just say that you work through that. They don't have life insurance. They didn't give you an ill-advised answer and all that good stuff and blah, blah, blah. or they have life insurance. You've broken down the evils of cash value life insurance. They're like, man, I never knew that, man. Wow. And you say, well, great. Well, listen, this is what I'm gonna do next. I want to take you through something that we call the love test, because that's what life insurance is. It's a love transaction, because it's for the people that you love and care about the most. So what this love test will do, it'll help us determine how much life insurance coverage you need. Now, what you need and what you feel comfortable spending could be two totally different things, but it's always our responsibility to help you determine your need. And to do that, we use an acronym called DIMES, D-I-M-E-S, right? Where each letter stands for something. And when I tell them that, April, this is when I pull up the DIMES worksheet. You share the DIMES spreadsheet on your screen. Pull that up, share it on your screen. Before you start telling them what each letter is, I share it on the screen. I say the letter D stands for consumer debt. The letter I stands for income replacement. The letter I is the most important question in the love test. I'll always save that one for last. The letter M stands for mortgage. The letter E stands for kids, college education. And the letter S stands for funeral services. So let's start with the letter D. Guys, does this sound familiar? It's all right here in the Wealth Builder companion sheet. And so what you do then, man, is that you go through the DIMES worksheet. I say, okay, let's start with the letter D, right? This is how I ask each question. If you were to pass away prematurely, would you want us to come back with enough life insurance money to pay off your consumer debt, so that way that burden is not left on your family? And you wait for them to answer. 9 times out of 10, they will say yes. You say, well, great. Well, rough estimate, not including your mortgage, how much consumer debt do you have? Rough estimate. And whatever they give you, you're going to type it into the debt line on this DIMES spreadsheet. So say they got 50,000, put it there, right? Then you say, okay, great. We're going to skip over the letter I. We're going to save that one for last. Let's go to the letter M. If you were to pass away prematurely, would you want us to come back with enough life insurance? Would you want me, if it's just you, would you want me to come back with enough life insurance money to pay off your mortgage, so that way that burden's not left on your family? Let me park there. Do y'all understand the psychology behind what I'm saying? What I'm saying to a client, Sean, I say, if you were to pass away prematurely, would you want State Farm? No. Would you want me to come back with enough life insurance? That, guys, that's the psychology behind it. Talking about closing, we're building to a close. Right? So that money's not left, so that burden's not left on your family. It's all tied together. I'm coming back with the life insurance money to pay that off. I'm going to alleviate the burden when I come back if something happened to you. That's me, not somebody else, not your current insurance company, not somebody that's trying to compete for you, not your job. It's me. That's why you ask the question that way. So they give you the number that's left on the mortgage. Okay, great. Boom. All right, we got that. Oftentimes before I do the mortgage, I ask them, do they have a mortgage? Some people don't have a mortgage. If they don't, you don't put anything there. And then same thing for the kids' college education. Now, the kids' college education one is tricky. You say, hey, if you were to pass away prematurely, would you want me to come back with enough life insurance money to pay for your kids' college education so that burden's not left on the family? Yes. Okay, well, let me share this. The average 4-year college costs about $25,000 a year. Could be more, could be less, but we use $25,000. So based on that number, if you calculate it 4 years, that's $100,000 per child. Would you want to be able to pay for their college education in full or just pay a percentage? That's what you ask them. Do you want to pay for it in full or pay a percentage? And they'll tell you. They'll say, I want to pay for it in full. Well, guys, if they got 2 kids, that's $200,000 that you're going to put in that education line. You're going to put $200,000 there. And then for the funeral services, you don't ask them the question for the funeral. Sean, you tell them. You don't ask, well, if you were to pass away prematurely, would you want me to come back with enough life insurance money to pay for your funeral? Don't do that. When it comes to that funeral, auntie, no. You're telling them. Average funeral cost. Okay, so now let's talk about funeral service. average funeral costs about $15,000, could be more, could be less. Now, why do y'all think I add that could be more, could be less when I tell them the average funeral $15,000? Somebody tell me, why do y'all think I add that line in there? Somebody come off mute and tell me.
It depends on what type of
about it.
service they want to have. Do they want to have a funeral or be cremated?
That's it. And somebody else give me some more to it. What,
If
anybody
they
else?
want doves, if they want doves flying around,
Horse and carriage.
that's extra, huh? That's extra.
Yeah.
They want a celebrity to sing at the funeral.
Right.
Fancy programs.
Yeah, and straight up inflation. The cost
Yeah.
of a funeral is increasing.
Yep.
And I'll also say that, you know, I had a family member, she passed away out of this country. And so then we had to get her back
Wow.
to this country and then lay her to rest. So it could be more. It was.
Yep. Absolutely. All the answers that you guys said were correct. The main reason why I came up with that, because when I was telling people without the could be more, could be less, a lot of people was like, no, they ain't gonna spend that much on my funeral. I'm gonna be cremated, man. They gonna spend $2,000 on my. So I'm like, hey, could be more, could be less. Could be more, could be less. But you guys are all right. The inflation, the cost of funerals go up. They might have doves flying and with Prince playing in the background. They might want to have Fred Hammond come in and sing, Bishop Paul S. Morton, whatever. I mean, y'all get what I'm saying, man. I mean, they might want to have some of everybody come through. Latrice, talk to us.
For the cremation piece too, the other thing is to consider travel costs if they want to be scattered anywhere. So I've used that as well, because they're like, well, cremation doesn't cost that much, but if you want to be scattered elsewhere, you need to factor in those charges.
Correct. And another thing too, guys, to build on what Latrice said, which is a great point. If people are getting too particular about amounts for each thing, let them know that the $15,000 doesn't have to be used for the funeral. It's just a pool of money that'll be enough to pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? So help unlock that part, because people get to thinking that this $100,000 for the kids' college, it has to go over here for the, like, you know what I'm saying? Primerica gonna cut one check. They not gonna cut separate checks. You know what I'm saying? To where this money has to go for the, are y'all with me on that? So some people, they don't know, so they might be processing it a little different. And so, but that's the thing with that. And then, but you tell them on the funeral part. Omar, talk to us.
No, I was just gonna say real quick, as you're getting to this part on the dimes, some of the things that, in addition to all the questions that you asked, are gonna be the who, why, where, and what. What I mean by that, like, who would you want to cover in your policy? You know, family, kids, whatever. Why? And you kind of want to get their why. That's why you kind of build more credibility and more intangible of the reason why they're getting it. Not just because you want to leave money behind, it's because a specific reason. You know what I mean? Kind of get their why on that. Where would they leave if you're gone? And that's when you kind of incorporate the mortgage question. Right? If you were not here, would they stay in the same house? Can they afford it? Do you have a mortgage? Right? Where would they leave? Right? And then the what is just the rest. Just an extra few questions, just to kind of get them involved and get them to think of why is it that you would want to do this.
So you've collected all the pieces of the dime except the letter I. And so you come back up to the letter I, you say, all right, well, so that brings me up to the letter I, right? Which stands for income replacement. This is the most important question, the most important question in the love test. And it's a two-part question. The first part, now this is if a person's single, right? If a person is single, they don't have a spouse, right? The first question you ask them is who do you want to be your beneficiary or beneficiaries? Because that's important. A lot of times people are going to say their kids. They don't have kids, they're going to say a sibling, they're going to say their parents. Those are going to be the common answers, right? And then you say, well, great. Well, let me ask this question. If you would have passed away, let's just say that God called you home to the kingdom. Now, it doesn't say this on the Wealth Builder companion sheet, but this is just language that I use. Hey, let's just say God calls you home, right? How much money would you want to leave your beneficiaries in a lump sum? Now, keep in mind, there's already enough life insurance money to pay off your consumer debt, so your family won't have to worry about that. There's also enough life insurance money to pay off your mortgage, so they wouldn't have to worry about that. And there's enough life insurance money to pay for the kids' college education, no worries there, and enough to pay for your funeral and final expenses. What I'm talking about, this would be extra money that you would want to leave behind to your beneficiaries. This would basically be the last love letter that you would leave your family, your mom, your children, whoever they name, right? This is money that says, hey, I love you. I know I'm not able to physically be here. I don't want you to struggle. I want you to be able to go able to live and enjoy your life. How much money would you want to leave your beneficiaries in a lump sum? And there is no wrong answer. Pretty much that's on the Wealth Builder companion sheet. You ask that question that way, and they'll give it to you. They'll say 150,000, 250,000, 500,000, whatever the case may be. And what you do, you type that number in the lump sum amount. And what it does, once you got all those in there, it adds up what their need is. And that need will show up on primary need. Now, if a person is married, you don't do the lump sum amount. You go down here to where it says primary and spouse. And so you ask the question to each spouse. You say, okay, so great. So Mrs. Jones, I'm going to start with you first, right? If Mr. Jones were to pass away prematurely, how much money would you need per month to replace his income? Now, keep in mind, the debt's already paid off. You don't have to worry about that. The mortgage is already paid off. Got enough life insurance money for that. Kids' college education's paid for, and his funeral is covered. But now you're a single mom. How much money would you need per month to replace his income? And they'll think about it, and they'll give you a number. And you write that number right here, Jamel, and where it says per month. If it's 5,000 a month, okay, so great. I say, well, so for how many years will you need that 5,000 a month? I normally recommend till your youngest child either reaches age 18 or graduates from college. Now, it could be for longer than that. It could be for shorter than that, but that's my recommendation. And the client will give you how many years. Let's say it's 10 years. You put that 10 years there. What it does, this spreadsheet will do the calculation and feed it into the primary need. Then you ask the husband the same question about the wife. And you put that number here where it says spouse, month, how many years, the math is done, and then it will show you what their life insurance need is. That's what it'll show you. All right. And so what I want to do is stop there and see if anybody has any questions based on what we've shared so far. A little Q&A. Y'all have already been asking great questions, but I wanted to make a formal pit stop right there. No questions? We're good? All right, perfect. Let's keep it going. All right. All right. So what I do at that point is I unshare the DIMES worksheet, or before I unshare the DIMES worksheet, I say, hey, let's just say the client needed $450,000 in life insurance. I say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, did you have any idea you needed $450,000 in life insurance? And they'll say, no, I didn't. Most people will say that. Some people say, yeah, I kind of figured it. But most people say, no, they didn't know that they needed as much as their DIMES calculation is showing. And then these are the questions, guys. You say, hey, I get it. Hey, but remember, you know, what you need and what you feel comfortable spending, it could be two totally different things. Now, I believe the best type of life insurance to own, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is one that you feel comfortable paying, right? But at the same time, I understand that there's a purpose for life insurance. We just identified it. This kind of speaks to what Omar said. You want to be able to pay off the mortgage, right? You want to be able to live. So the family doesn't struggle. So that's the purpose for life insurance. I just believe there needs to be a balance between purpose and price. So you can do your 6-7 hands with that. You know what I'm saying? You just think there needs to be a balance between purpose and price. Well, 6-7, 6-7. All right. All right. So, and then here's the pre-close question, guys. This is the important question. You want to master this question. After you say, hey, there needs to be a balance between purpose and price. If we could show you a policy, and let's say that you like it, it makes sense in every way, and the monthly premiums are actually something that you can afford, is there any reason why you wouldn't get that policy? That's the question, guys. You got to ask that question. You got to ask that question. This is how the life insurance, Jamel, gets sold. You ask that question. But let me tell you something. If the client gives you an answer other than no, then please ask the magic question. Please ask them the magic question and say it with me. What's the magic question? Obviously, you have a reason for saying that. So why do you say that? April, if I can show you a policy, let's say that you like it, it makes sense in every way, and the monthly premiums are actually something you can afford, is there any reason why you wouldn't get that policy? Nick, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna be like, oh, okay, well, great. Well, let's talk about the. No, don't do that. They did not give you an answer. They did not say the right answer. They didn't say no when they needed to say no. They gave you a different answer. So you have to ask them the magic question, please. April, obviously you have a reason for saying maybe, and also obviously you have a reason for saying that. Why do you say that? I want to know what her hesitation is. You need to know if your clients are having a hesitation. You need to know why. Ask them. And they'll tell you. They will tell you. Because before I move forward, I need buy-in. I need buy-in. And before you move forward, you need the right answer. Now, let me tell you this. Most of the times you say this because you've been building upon everything up until this point. You have a rapport. You should have a trust from the client, all that good stuff. When you get to the place where you're asking that question, if I could show you a policy, let's say that you like it, it makes sense in every way, and the monthly premiums are actually something you can afford, man, they should be like, is there any reason why you wouldn't get that policy? They should be like, no, man. If I could afford it, no. Great. All right, cool. Then you move on. But if they don't say no to that question, then you got to ask them the magic question. All right. But let's just say that they say no. Like it says here, when the client answers in the affirmative, say this. Yeah. Let's transform. Well, great. Let's transform what we've been talking about into a reality. But we want to do, but what we want to do is we want to do something that makes sense for you financially, right? And here's the question, guys. This is how you get a client's commitment. This is how you ask this question. And y'all have heard me ask it, the ones I've been field training with. Okay, let's transform what we've been talking about into reality, but we want to do it at a cost that makes sense to you financially, right? When you look at your bills and you look at your income, realistically, how much can you comfortably set aside on a monthly basis to not only have life insurance, but also to invest more money to create more wealth? Don't stop that question right there. You go straight into these options. You say some of our clients are on a limited budget. They only do about $100 a month, and that's fine. You can start anywhere. Most of our clients, though, they can set aside probably between maybe about $150 and $350 a month. That's most of our clients. Then there's a fortunate few. They can set aside, hey, $500 or more. God bless them. Have y'all heard me say that? That's in there. That's in there. Hey, they do $500 or more. Hey, God bless them. Or there may be another number that you're thinking about. And then you ask it again. But again, when you look at your bills and income, realistically, how much can you comfortably set aside on a monthly basis and not only have life insurance, but also to invest more money to create more wealth? And then shut up and let the client give their answer. Be quiet. Close your mouth, sit back, and let the client give you their answer. This is where they give you the commitment. This is where they tell you what they working with financially. If you just ask them an open-ended question, realistically, how much can you comfortably set aside on a monthly basis for life insurance and investment? Guys, they're going to give you $40 a month. I can do about $40 a month. You can't do nothing with $40 a month. I give you $50 a month. What, for life insurance and investments to make me wealthy? About $50 a month. Y'all ain't been dealing with our people long enough. I'm telling y'all, I've been doing it for over 20 years. You have to give them options. You have to, guys, we're leading them. You leading them. You have to give them the options. $100. Some people on a limit. The limited budget number is $100 a month. Most people are between $150 and $350. Fortunately, if you can do $500 or more, or there might be a other number you're thinking about. By you giving them those options alone, you get higher commitments. Are y'all with me? You get higher commitments. Be quiet, let them answer you. April and Courtney, we did one last night. I asked that question the same way. She came in around, I can do between 100 and 150. I said, okay, bet, let's do 125. Let's go right in the middle. I can do that. That's it. Had I not said those options, she would have gave $70 a month, $50. I'm telling y'all, I know our people. That's what they would have did. They would have did that. So that's how you ask that question. So guys, I know we're kind of coming up on the end. I don't want to hold us too long, but that's a good place to maybe park. Hold on, let me see what else is after this. Okay, I'm gonna show this last part, and then because this goes hand in hand with what I'm showing you. So, mom, let's say that the client gives you a commitment. You ask these questions, and you give them the options. They give you a commitment of $250. Miss Roz, I can do $250 a month. You say, wow, okay, that's great, $250 a month. Now let me ask you this: the $250 a month, is that an amount that you really feel that, hey, when you think about it, you say, I can do that, like where you can commit to that amount and you don't have to think about it twice, you don't have to blink twice, because that's the amount that we're looking for. So what you're doing right there, you're kind of vetting that commitment. When somebody gives you a commitment, it might not be a bad idea to vet it a little bit, especially if they give you, I can do $400 a month. But y'all get what I'm saying, guys? Like, if people are giving you numbers like that, you say, okay, all right, well, that's a good number. Let me ask you something. Is that a number when you think about the $400 a month, when you say, I can do that? And that's the, hey, guys, that's the hand motion that I do. Man, I can do that. I can do that. Meaning you ain't got to blink twice at it. You ain't got to think about it. It's just comfortable to you like that, because that's the number that I'm looking for. And sometimes people will be like, well, if you say it like that, I can't necessarily do 400, but I might be able to do 250. Then you say, well, great. You can do 250. You can always adjust. You can always increase it at another time, right? So you're trying to get the real commitment that's comfortable to them. That's comfortable to them. And so once you got that real commitment, then you're able to really work with the client. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop right there. Any questions or comments based on what we've shared tonight? We've gone through a lot, but anybody have any questions or comments?
And so if a person would have said, I do have some other life insurance outside of work, and are you estimating this number as if they don't have that, or are you setting them up to then say, look, we're gonna, let's see if you get approved for this, and then we possibly may, remove that whole life insurance or that other thing, and now that money is repurposed into the life or the Roth, or you just are saying, even though I know that they have this other policy, I'm just going with additional money.
That's a great question, April. That is a great question. So if a person already has a life insurance policy outside of their job, are we including the amount that they're paying for their old policy as though we're replacing them as part of that commitment? The answer is yes. But I have to get the client's permission on that. And so you have to get the client's permission on that. You say, hey, listen, part of the recommendation I'm making as far as with this commitment is that I want to be able to provide more value for your life insurance policies. Because at that point, you should have broken down why their current policies are not best for them. Do you want me to use the money that you're paying for your current life insurance policies as part of the commitment or on top of the commitment? That's the question. As part of the commitment or on top of the commitment. So if they give me a commitment of $250 and they're paying $200 for their current life insurance policy, I need to understand, is that $200 a part of the $250 commitment? It is giving an extra $50. Are y'all with me? Or are they saying, no, I can do $450, right? It's just a simple question. You say, hey, listen, because when I put together these options, I'm going to be putting together options that I think I can give you a better deal on your life insurance. I know I can. Do you want to make the $200 you're paying for your life insurance, do you want to make that a part of the commitment that you gave me, or you want to put it in addition to the commitment that you gave me? That's all you got to ask them. And they'll tell you. And you'll be surprised. Some people be like, oh, it could be in addition to. A lot of people are going to be like, no, that's included in the deal. That's included in the deal. But you'll be surprised. But that's how you ask that question. Great question, though, Nick. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, teammates. You guys have been fantastic. That concludes week 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this bad boy up so you can be able to look at it and watch it and listen to it. But when you're out in the field in these coming weeks, break out that Wealth Builder companion sheet and follow along with it with your field trainer as they go through it. And everything that I'm talking about, it'll just start to jump off the page and you'd be like, man, it's flowing exactly how Nick is going through it. It's going to trip you out. It's going to trip you out because ultimately we want you to get to the place to where your field trainer can step back and you start walking people through this stuff. And I'm telling you, it'll work the exact same way for you. It'll work the exact same way for you. I promise you it will. I promise you it will. Because you know why? You're the expert. You're the expert. You're the licensed independent producer in the making, field trainer in the making. You're the expert. All right, teammates? Good stuff.